All right, and on to passage 3, having a laugh. So let's see what we've got. Definitely, yes, of course, we've got some multiple choice and another summary and some yes, no, not given. So overall, it's kind of a strange test. Passage 1 and 2 didn't have true, false, not given, or yes, no, not given. So there's only 4 yes, no, not given in this whole passage, which is kind of unusual. But the main reason for that is because reading passage 1 was quite weird. It was kind of a passage 3. So anyway, let's move on. We're going to start with the summary, of course. We're going to try and find 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But now this is a summary with a box, so it's slightly different. You've got to put the letters in. It can help you a little bit often because it suggests answers over here. One mistake that I often see students make is that they will put the word in. They think the answer is A, so they write laughter over there, and you can get that wrong. I think one of the examiners, the people who mark the reading, they will mark that wrong because on their answer sheet, they've just got A, B, C, D. They don't know what A is and what B is. So don't put the word. You must put A or B or C in the answer on your answer sheet. Please don't throw marks away like that. Be very careful of that. All right. So let's take a look. Firstly, let's see if we can find where everything is. We also want to look at the grammar. Sometimes the grammar in these boxes with a summary with a box, the grammar can help you. So let's take a look at some keywords. I just want to find where it is. It'll make me feel a bit at ease. Australian National University. Anything else that we've got? Then we've got some names down here. So I'll probably just go and take a look at those. Look for those. Australian National University. David Cheng and Lu Wang. And I mean, you can start wherever you want. We can start at the top here, but it's probably going to be somewhere in the middle. There's a name over there, Charlie Douglas, University California, University California. Nothing over there. Ovase is a name. But there we have it over there. Cheng and Wang of Australian National University. Great. And anything else? We see it continues with Cheng and Wang, which is important to see. Right. Cheng and Wang is also down there, so it might be all of these. We've just got to go and see if we can find exactly which paragraphs. It might be all of them, it might be only one. One important thing to notice here is, let me make it a different color, in one study and a second study by these guys. So these guys did 2 studies, and we want to go and try and find those studies. Now here, maybe it's a little bit confusing. This is another study, but it's another on top of the other ones before in this passage. This is the first one by Cheng and Wang because they introduced them over here, and that's how you know that it's the first time they mention them. Introduce them, where they come from or what they do. And then here we say here we see a second study. So now we've got a much better idea about where everything is in the summary. The first paragraph of the summary will be from these 2 paragraphs, and the second paragraph will be either from that one or both of these. We can find that later. But anyway, we've got a very good idea of where the summary comes from. That you should do very quickly before you do anything else. Right, now we just want to take a look at this grammar. An interesting thing here is we've got noun, oopsie, noun. This is a noun, oh no. And then we've got another noun over there, but then we've got 3 ing words. Now, ing can be gerund, or it can be verb, like past, present participle, or it can be adjective. Remember, there's 3 things that an ing word can do. Noun, verb, or adjective. So let's go and see what we're actually looking for over here. Generate a different kind of something. Definitely a noun. After the preposition of, we're going to have a noun. So let's just put N over there. Who had watched the something video? Now that's a noun, so this gives us a very important clue. That is going to be an adjective. So that probably means these ing words are adjective ing words. Another one, particularly something, task. There's our noun. Again, we have an adjective. Not only reduces something, so that'll be a noun. You reduce something. May also have a something effect. There's our noun, so here we have another adjective. So that's very useful. That tells us that we're looking for nouns and adjectives, but we also know that these ing words in the box are going to be adjectives. So we're looking for adjectives, which one of these go in there, and immediately that narrows it down. We've got 3 adjectives here, and it can only be that, boring, or amusing. We won't have laughter in these, or anxiety or enjoyment in this place over here. So yeah, the summary with a box can help you like that sometimes, but actually usually they will be the same. Here we've got nouns and adjectives in that box, but usually it's like all nouns or all verbs or all adjectives. But it's worth checking, because if it's different, then it helps you. Usually summary with a box is actually more difficult in my opinion, because sometimes they use this exact word. You will find the word relaxing in the text, but sometimes the word relaxing will not be in the text. You will find a synonym in the text, and so that can make it more difficult. It's an extra step, and sometimes it's even more difficult. There won't be a synonym there. It will just be like a few sentences that mean relaxing. So they can make this one more difficult than summary without a box. Right, let's go and find some answers. In one study, chosen groups of participants were shown one of 3 videos. Each video was designed to generate a different kind of something. Okay, let's see one of 3 videos. Let's see the videos. They were shown one of 3 videos. So we're over here. Based on, let's just find videos first. To test this, required 74 business students, tedious task, watch instance, blah, 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 blah. And then they had to watch a video. Clip eliciting either humor, contentment, or neutral feelings. Eliciting is the key word. Some watched a clip of the BBC comedy Mr. Bean. That's the video about humor. Others a relaxing scene with dolphins. That's a video about contentment. And others a factual video about management, and that's a neutral video. So we're looking for a noun, remember, and each video was designed to generate a different kind of something. I was looking for the word 3, but the word 3 actually isn't there, so that's unfortunate. But they had actually groups of 3 things. So I actually need you to focus on this word over here. Can you find generate? This one isn't easy, because you actually need to know the meaning of you actually kind of need to get the meaning of this whole thing. They've put a red herring in there, relaxing, and relaxing is in the box, but it's not that. So that word generating is actually this word over here. What did it generate? It generated one of these 3 things. And what are these 3 things? What would you call humor, contentment, or neutral feelings? We know that we're looking for a noun. Would you call those 3 things laughter, anxiety, enjoyment, or emotion? And it's emotion. Those 3 things are types of emotion. And another key there, if you found that word generating, eliciting, there is our key word there. We're looking for feelings, we're looking for emotions. So okay, quite a difficult one to start off with, but look, you only had one of 4 options, because you know that you're looking for a noun, and so I think you could have probably gotten that one. So we're not going to write emotion, we're going to write C. Great. When all participants were then given a deliberately frustrating task to do, it was found that those who had watched the something video persisted with the task for longer and tried harder to accomplish the task. Not easy. Now, one thing that I'm going to talk about in this video quite a lot is it's a slightly advanced topic with passage 3, and that is that often in passage 3, they mention a bunch of studies, a few studies. So this one is one study over here. Let's make them all blue. One study, and then I saw somewhere here in their study there's another study over here, and then this is then, so it's part of that study, and then there's another study over here, and then another study over here. So this whole passage is about 4 different studies, and I think I'll get to it a bit later, but the basic idea is that when you're dealing with a study in passage 3, it's very good to find the description of the study. Let me write it down at the bottom here. Just make some notes. When dealing with a study, I'll say usually in passage 3, it's good to try and identify, one, the description of the study, and then next the results of the study, because, and then actually sometimes comments on the study. That's not always there, but these 2 things are always there. Description. These 2 things are always there because they have to put them there. They have to say what the study was about, how did they do it, how many people, what equipment, all of that, what did they do, and then they have to say what the results of the study were. So that information will always be in a passage where they're discussing a study, and very, very often it helps you to identify that information, because you will see the question asks about the description or the result. So it will just help you to go to the right place of the paragraph so that you can find the right information. I'll do a bit more on that later. Actually, yeah, let me just move on. I shouldn't have introduced that just yet, because this example is actually a bad example of what I'm talking about. I'll show you what I mean now. So they had watched the something video. So we're in the point that I'm trying to make is it was found that. That's all I'm actually trying to say. So now we know that we're in the results of the study. And let's go back to our text. So in this text, here they start with all of the description of the study, and then they did a task, and then however, and they were allowed to quit at any point. So this is all the description of the study, and then if you'll notice, that is actually result of the study. Students who watched the Mr. Bean video ended up spending significantly more time on the task. That's results. And we're looking at the results of the study over here, because they say it was found that. So those who had watched the something video, the Mr. Bean video, persisted longer and tried harder to accomplish the task. Those who had watched the Mr. Bean video spent more time working on the tasks, worked longer, and making twice as many predictions. They tried harder. So it's the Mr. Bean video that we want. However, we don't have Mr. Bean in the box, so we need to find a synonym for what the Mr. Bean is in the box. We're looking at an adjective. I don't know if you know Mr. Bean. That's the problem with this, but they do tell you over here that the Mr. Bean is a comedy. So we're looking for a comedy video. We want a synonym for comedy. The people who had watched the Mr. Bean video is the comedy video. Is it relaxing? Is it stimulating? Is it amusing? Or is it boring? And synonym for funny, like funny ha-ha, is amusing. So that's how you found that answer. I think quite a difficult one. But do notice how if you recognize that we are looking for results of the study, then you could have actually skipped through quite quickly all of this information until we got to there. And then we saw this is now results information, and that's where our answer was. It doesn't always work because sometimes they can have reference pronouns and that sort of thing, but nothing always works in IELTS. It's just a general good policy when you're dealing with a study to recognize when you're reading about the description of the study and when you're reading about the results of the study. It helps you to classify information and makes it more manageable. Great. Let's move on. Now, this example actually contradicts what I just said about the description and the results, but don't worry about it because it's just an exception. I'll show you what I mean here. A second study, participants were asked to perform a particularly something task, produce similar results. So this is kind of a description of the study, I guess. It could be just introduction, but it actually comes from a different part. I'll show you. Perform, remember we're looking for an adjective, and then also remember we can't use these twice. So we actually only have 3 more adjectives to choose from. Now in the second study, what happened in the second study? What's the description of the study? There's the students, they had there's the participants, had to complete long multiplication questions by hand. Now that's the description of the study, and then here is the results of the study. So you could actually get the answer from this. It's in the description of the study. They had to complete long multiplication questions by hand. And we've got one of three adjectives here. So long multiplication questions, that's the task that they had to do. How do you describe that task? Is it relaxing, or is it stimulating, or is it boring? Now it's definitely, maybe for some people stimulating, but for most people it would be boring. So that is a boring task. However, the better part to get the answer, this is why I say it contradicts what I said, is it was in the results. It's this tedious task, and tedious is boring. So there's kind of an exception to what I said about information being in the description of the study and information being in the results of the study, because here they used this reference pronoun to actually refer back to the description of the study. But that doesn't happen often. You can still trust me that this way of dividing the information up when dealing with studies is still very useful. But anyway, so in that example, the question came from the results of the study, and the answer was actually in the description of the study, or the other way around. The question came from the description of the study, and the answer was actually in the results of the study, because they had used a reference pronoun. Anyway, tedious means boring, but you could have maybe guessed the answer, because long multiplication questions by hand, that's going to be boring for most people. All right, boring C. Right, according to researchers David and Cheng Wu Wang, these findings suggest that. Okay, so now these findings suggest that this might be produce similar results is the results of the study. So now we're actually on to comment about this, about the results. So that's actually this third possible group over here. Sometimes comments on the study or comments on the results of the study is more likely. Yeah. So let's see, we got to go and try and find where these guys were discussing the results of the study. The findings suggest that humor not only reduces something, so reduces is probably a key word, and helps build social connections. Let's see if we can find reduces something and helps build social connections. So we're looking for the comments about the study now. So it will be over here somewhere. Not only reduce. So there's the social connections, social relationships. Relieve is the the synonym for reduce. To relieve something is to make it less, make it easier. So we're looking for stress, and we're looking for a noun, and we have to find one of our nouns that means stress. We've used emotion already, so we've got laughter, anxiety, or enjoyment. Of course, it's anxiety is stress. It's a very good word to learn, anxiety. Anxiety and stress, they use these synonyms often, and you can use it in your task too. Great. And then finally, so we've done boring. So we've got relaxing and stimulating less. We want this adjective, but it may also have a something effect on the body and mind. All right, let's see, a something effect on the body and mind. And let's anything about body and mind. Nothing really about body and mind. The traditional view of tasks implies that individuals should avoid things such as humor that may distract them. We suggest that humor is not only enjoyable, but more importantly, energizing. So that's body and mind. You enjoy something that's good for your mind, energizing that's good for your body. It gives you energy. So that's where the body and mind is. They made this a little bit difficult. So a something effect on the body and mind. And we've got relaxing or stimulating. So yes, it's not very clear. It's just you've got to try and see that enjoyable is like good for the body. It's positive for the body. Good for the mind. Positive for the mind. Energizing is good for the body. It's positive for the body. So we want to see something that's got energy, that's positive. Are we talking about stimulating, or are we talking about relaxing? So if something's enjoyable, yes, it can be said to be stimulating for the mind. If something is energizing, yes, it can be said to be stimulating for the body. So it's not relaxing, definitely because of energizing. So E over there. Great. Right, so I think not bad. Actually, I've made a mistake here. Why is there two C's? Oh, sorry about that. This is supposed to be F. I don't know why I wrote C over there. So, yeah, hopefully that's all correct. Okay, great. Let's move on. Now, you've got to ask yourself the question, are you going to do yes, no, not given, or are you going to do multiple choice? I would definitely go with yes, no, not given. Even though this is passage 3, yes, no, not given, they are going to be difficult. But, multiple choice is multiple choice. I always prefer to leave them for last because they are the most time consuming and the most difficult questions. So let's do yes, no, not given. First thing we do is find where we are coming from. Santa Cruz study, San Diego study. Australian National University is what we just dealt with, and Cheng and Wang's conclusions is what we just dealt with. It might be a good idea to start with those, but let's just go and find Santa Cruz study and San Diego study. Probably have to start at the beginning. It could be anywhere. Santa Cruz, Santa Cruz, Santa Cruz, and there we go. So that's the Santa Cruz study. That's this study over here, and then San Diego is over there. So that's the second study. So one question from here, one question from all of this, or all of this, that's all the San Diego study. And then one question from, well, we'll see, part of these two questions from there. So I would actually start, I think, with the ones that we've already dealt with, because we already know our way a little bit around this information. So I would probably start over there. This one is also nice because it's a relatively smaller paragraph, and I would leave that one for last. Right, I'm just going to take this out just because it's confusing us. Right, what do they say? Right, so the participants in the Australian National University study were given a fixed amount of time to complete the task focusing on employees' profiles. So take a second and see if you can identify where is the scanning language here. How are we going to find where this one comes from? and where is the target language? What is IELTS going to change or keep the same? So for me, the scanning language is definitely the task focusing on employee profiles. That's the language I want to go and try and find. And then the target language is this. Were they given a fixed amount of time? It's specifically fixed. Were they given a fixed amount of time, a limited amount of time, or were they given an unlimited amount of time? That's the target language of this question. So first, let's go and find it, the task focusing on employee profiles. So remember that there were two tasks by Cheng and Wang. There was this one, and I don't see anything here about employee profiles, but then, oh no, then actually it's three tasks or three parts of the study. It's just that this one was considered one study with two parts. But there is the word employee over there, and that's what we were looking for. So they were asked to guess the potential performance of employees. So what language did they use over here? Task focusing on employee profiles. Okay, that's fine. There's profiles, the employee profiles, and they were told that making 10 correct assessments, blah blah blah. Now remember, we're looking for the description of the study, so it's going to be somewhere over here. Now we're asking, were they given as much time as they needed, unlimited time, or were they given a certain set amount of time in which they had to do this? See if you can find it. Can you see anything about time? And it's a bit obscure. Any point is the word that relates to time. It's at any point in time. So this says that they were allowed to quit at any point. And that suggests they could have as much time as they wanted. Any point. Not fixed. Unlimited. Any. So that wasn't a fixed amount of time. It was an unlimited amount of time. And so that means that this is not a fixed amount of time, so this must be no. Be careful, don't write false. Some of those people who mark the reading are very strict, and they will, if you write false, they will mark it wrong. So you must write no. All right, next. Cheng and Wang's conclusions. Okay, so conclusions is about what? I deleted it. Conclusions is about comments on the study, comments on the results. Were in line with established notions regarding task performance. I think this is the task language. Were in line with means, did it agree with? Did their conclusions agree with established conclusions, which is like everybody else's conclusions? Notions is ideas, conclusions, similar sort of thing. So did their findings agree with what everybody else thinks? Or was it different? And this isn't an easy one because it's actually detailed reading. So, can you see anything that means established? And that's quite difficult. And there it is over there, the traditional view. Established notions, traditional view. Those are synonyms. So that's what the rest of the scientific community thinks. And this contrast marker gives us a clue as to what the answer here is. Cheng and Wang found that the traditional view is that individuals should avoid humor. We suggest there should actually be a however over there. They didn't put it in. They don't have to put it in, but it's kind of implied that it's over there. We suggest that humor is enjoyable and energizing. So this, however, it's not there, but it should be there. It shows you that what they found disagrees with the traditional view. The traditional view is that humor is bad and it should be avoided. These guys found that humor is good and you should use it. So were they in line with? That means did they agree with traditional view, or did they disagree with traditional view, out of line with traditional view? and they were out of line. They found a different conclusion. So again, that one is no. Right, so then we'll probably go back to this one over here. Participants in the Santa Cruz study were more accurate. I think that's target language. More accurate at identifying the laughs of friends than those of strangers. They were more accurate at identifying the laughs of friends than those of strangers. So let's see if we can find friends and strangers in that paragraph. And we're all the way up at the top here, and we're going to be somewhere in this paragraph. Now, you need to, are we looking at description of the study or results of the study? That question is results of the study. But it does help to maybe just read the description of the study, just so you know what's going on. A team of 30 scientists, blah, 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 played these recordings to listeners. This is all description of the study. From participants were asked whether they thought the people laughing were friends or strangers. So this here is all from there to there. That's description of the study. But we're looking for results of the study. Results were consistent. Worldwide, people's guesses were correct 60% of the time. What does that actually mean? They thought the people laughing were friends or strangers. And this is confusing. I think it's going to be not given. Were more accurate at identifying laughs of friends than strangers. No. Okay, you needed to go and read the results of the study for this, because you need to know what's going on. Read the description of the study. What they were asked is, they were played some laughter, some people laughing together, and then you had to say, were those people friends with each other or were they strangers? And then the results showed that people guessed correctly. So it's not about whether they were more correct when it was with friends or more correct when it was with strangers. That information isn't actually here. So that's actually a very difficult one. And it's because it's a not given one, because you can spend your time looking for that and thinking, what is going on? And ends up that information actually isn't there. It's a not given one. Notice how again they start with the not given. I've seen them do this so many times because they're trying to get you to get confused and waste your time. So yeah, that one was pretty difficult, I must say. Probably the most difficult one so far in this test. Right, then finally, in the San Diego study, were correct in their predictions. Definitely, were they correct or not? That's our target language regarding the behavior of high status individuals. So let's find the high status individuals. That's our scanning language. Wow, it's a lot to scan for. Alright, so actually now I see high status everywhere. The whole test is about high status. There's high status, there's low status. So this is all about high status. So what we want to try and do is we want to find the right kind of information. Are we looking at description of the study, results of the study, or analysis of the study, comments on the study? And this, what would you think? Is this description of the study? Is it results of the study, or is it comments on the study? The researchers were correct in their predictions regarding the behavior of the high status. It's actually about comments on the study. It's about what the researchers predicted actually before the test, but that's still about the study. And it's not about the results, and it's not about the description. It's about the comments by the researchers. And so we would want to go and actually not look at all of this stuff, which is all description of the study, description of the study, description of the study. And then we see analysis revealed that, as expected, then this is actually results of the study. But this little bit over here is about the predictions. It's about comments on the study by things that were said about the study by the researchers. I know it gets a little bit confusing, but if you get the hang of it, then it definitely helps you to dismiss information that you're not looking for. For example, we know we're not looking at description of the study. We're looking at something that the the researchers said or thought, whether before or after, about the study. So we can actually ignore all of this. This is what we were saying, as expected. The researchers expected this. So I'm hoping that I'm making myself clear here. I know that this is all results of the study, but the real point I want to make is that you should have been able to see from this question that we are not looking at description of the study. This is definitely not about description of the study. Maybe it's about results of the study, maybe it's about comments on the study, fine, but it's definitely not description of the study. And that means that you can go and you can sort of skim this stuff and you can see, no, this is all description, description, description. I don't need this. And then we can get to when we start looking at results and comments, and then you start focusing in on that information. So anyway, there's our keywords over there, as expected. They did expect this to happen. They did predict it to happen. So they were correct. That is what they expected. That is what they predicted. So they were correct. Were correct is our target language. So the answer must be yes. Whew, okay. Very, not terribly difficult, but it work your brain. It definitely works your brain. You can't do it in your sleep. All right, so I'm just going to go fairly quickly through these because this is a long video already. At this stage in the test, I know you're tired. Your brain is like porridge, so you actually want to finish things up. Don't be afraid to guess. These things will eat your time. All right, so let's get going. Well, first of all, let's just see Charlie Douglas. One thing we should have done before we even did anything is just to check where all of these come from, because it can help us with where they choose this from. I forgot to do that. So this is in the 5th paragraph. It might help you to go and number these paragraphs. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is still 4, and this is 5. Yeah, okay, that would have probably helped us a little bit with finding the summary, because then they started with the summary over there. Remember to do that. I forgot to do that. So anyway, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 paragraphs, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 multiple choice questions. So probably 1 per paragraph. Maybe they try to trick you with one of them, but generally it'll be 1 per paragraph. First paragraph, when referring to laughter in the first paragraph, there we go, the writer emphasizes. Now, as I've said before, what I like to try and do here is not read these because these confuse me. I'll read these later. I'll try and answer the question just from this. So, when he's referring to laughter in the first paragraph, what does he emphasize? So, when babies begin to laugh, universal across cultures, exists in some form in rats, chimps, so something about animals. Like other emotions, laughter provides psychological scientists with rich resources, ranging from that to that to that to that. Okay, so I can't really see the answer. Let's see what they say. Impact on language, function in human culture, value to scientific research, universality in animal society. So it's kind of all there. Language, culture, research, animals. It's all there. That's why these things are so difficult. Maybe this is... There's culture, there's animals, language, maybe language is up there. But all I can really say about this is that all of this is about the research. The scientists, they are studying development of, there's language over there. So he's saying introduction sentence, laughter is important when we're babies, we have it in our culture, even animals have it. But then he goes on and he emphasizes quite a lot about how it's valuable for research. And then he throws language in over there just as an afterthought, as part of the examples. So like 50% of the paragraph is about research. So I would go with research. But that one is really tough because they are all there. Language, culture, research, animals. It's all there. So which one do you choose? Sometimes you might get lucky and you will see some stronger language. I was looking for some kind of stronger language like in particular or especially or however. Even if I put a however over here, it might give it more strength, but I couldn't find any, so I just chose it based on the fact that he says more about it than others. Maybe I'm not reading clearly enough. My brain's quite tired from this reading, but really difficult. So I would have just said that one, just because he emphasizes it more than the others by saying more about it. All right. What does the writer suggest about Charlie Douglas? Okay, he's saying something about Charlie Douglas. Now, probably second paragraph, but let's just check. Yes, Charlie Douglas is over there. What does the writer say about him? Charlie Douglas hated dealing with the unpredictable laughter of live audiences. Maybe it's that he hated dealing with this laughter. Right, he understood the importance. He believed, he wanted, he preferred. No. Okay, so we need something else. Nothing about it. He hated. So what did Charlie Douglas do or feel? He hated dealing with it, but he started recording his own tracks, intended to help people at home. He recorded various types of laughter. He picked up on a quality of laughter that is now interesting. A simple ha-ha communicates a remarkable amount of socially relevant information. Maybe it's this. He picked up on, he kind of discovered something. He understood. He understood the importance of enjoying humor in a group setting. That's the socially relevant situation. He believed that needed to be told when to laugh. I didn't see that. He wanted his shows to appeal to audiences. He preferred his shows where audiences were present. So I think none of those three. But wow, this one is difficult. This is the most difficult one in the whole test, I'm sure. Now you have to really read in detail. And I would say it basically comes from here. These laugh tracks that he recorded were intended to help people at home feel like they were in a social situation. He understood that it was important for the viewers watching TV. It was important for them to enjoy the laughter in a group setting, in a social situation. These ones are not there. So this multiple choice question, it's more about the ones that are not there than the ones that are. It's more about the process of elimination than anything else, because this is quite obscure, I must say. This is a perfect example of how one question can take your time, it can take your energy, and you're going to get it wrong anyway. So, man, that's why I just say go B, and go and check your other answers, because these things some of them are ridiculous. Anyway, Santa Cruz study. Let's be positive. What makes the Santa Cruz study significant? Why was the Santa Cruz study important? Maybe that will be a bit easier. So there we are, definitely looking at something about comments about the study, not description of, and probably not results. And here, this is actually about comments about the study. This is talking about results, and this is talking about results, but this is talking about comments about the results. The results were remarkably consistent. Were remarkably means, what's the synonym? Particularly significant. It was remarkable. And what was remarkable is that the results were consistent, and that means they were the same or similar. And it's there. The results were similar by a wide range of cultures, but it's consistent, similar. Those are the synonyms. All right, so maybe there it could have helped you just to focus in on comments about the results. Anyway, yeah, so I'm going a little bit fast now because we're all getting tired. Which of the following happened in the San Diego study? Again, this one is super difficult because you've actually got to read through all of this and compare it to every one of these other things. So I'm just going to show you where it is. participants exchanged roles, and you get that from the fact that that's like results of the study. Analysis revealed, so it could be in description of the study, maybe they were supposed to, but what they're saying is that low status individuals were likely to change their laughter based on their position of power. Sometimes they were in a powerful role, and sometimes they were in a submissive role, and so they changed roles. But wow, that was going to take you a long time to find. And then finally, in the fifth paragraph, what did the results of the study suggest? So now we're looking about comments about the study, hopefully, so we can go and look for that. Let's just see. I know there's a lot of things here. What did the results of the San Diego study suggest? And we're probably going to be in this paragraph somewhere because we haven't used that yet. And as it turns out, the answer, I'm not even going to go into it. We're all exhausted. As it turns out, the answer is here. What they're saying is that the high status people were rated as high status, whether they did a dominant laugh or whether they did a submissive laugh. They were always rated as high status, and there it is down here. They were always rated as high status, whether they did the one or whether they did the other. Oh, but really, I don't know how people are supposed to get some of these in such a short space of time. That's why I would say, if you had just gone, look, if you had just said, forget multiple choice, C, you would have gotten 1 out of 5, but you would have saved yourself a lot of time. Maybe you could use that time better somewhere else. Maybe you'll get lucky, you'll go B, and you'll get 2 out of 5. But I'll say it again, be so careful of these multiple choice things. Give yourself 5 minutes at the end to do them. Don't let them take more than 5 minutes. And I suggest even less, but that's up to you. All right, great. So it's a difficult test. It's a passage 3. I'm exhausted. I'm sure you're exhausted. I think the main thing that I want you to get from this is this idea of when we're talking about studies, there is certain information, description of the study, results of the study, comments about the study, and you can see from the question which kind of information you must go and look at. All right, and then of course the grammar helped you over here. All right, so thank you very much. I'll get on to the next reading, passage 1. Hopefully that will be a bit easier than this one. Thank you very much. Goodbye.